We begin this story at a moment when everything feels compressed and dangerous, when the air around Britt seems thinner than it used to be, and every step she takes could be the one that exposes her. We are watching a woman who once believed she could control the narrative of her own life, now realizing that too many hands are pulling at her from different directions. From the outside, Britt may still appear composed, professional, even confident. But beneath that surface, we can sense the pressure building. We can feel that she is running out of space to maneuver. And we understand that her past decisions are no longer staying in the past. They are catching up to her, one by one, and they are bringing Jason into the center of the storm. As we look at what has already unfolded on General Hospital, it becomes clear that Britt is no longer just a side figure in someone else's story. She has become the target. Too many people are watching her. Too many people want something from her. And none of them are offering safety without a price. Jason, who has always relied on instinct as much as evidence, senses that something about Britt's situation does not add up. He knows she is hiding something, not because she wants to deceive him, but because she is trying to survive. That distinction matters to Jason, and it is likely the reason he has not walked away, even when trusting her has proven difficult. Jason's investigation into Britt does not start as a formal mission. It begins quietly, almost unconsciously. He listens more carefully. He notices pauses in her speech, moments when her eyes flicker with fear before she masks it. He starts asking questions that seem casual on the surface, but are designed to test her reactions. And while Britt does her best to stay ahead of him, Jason can feel that there is a larger force behind her choices. He does not yet know who that force is, but he knows Britt is not acting alone. As we analyze the deeper layers of what is happening, Sidwell emerges as a central figure, whether he wants to be seen or not. We already know that Sidwell manipulated Britt in the past. He positioned himself as someone she could not refuse, someone who held both threat and salvation in his hands. More importantly, Sidwell became the middleman supplying Britt with the medication that keeps her alive. That single fact changes everything. It creates a power imbalance that Britt cannot escape easily, no matter how strong or intelligent she is. We have to consider the possibility that Sidwell's role is even darker than what has been openly revealed. There is speculation that Sidwell could be the one orchestrating events from behind the scenes, possibly even connected to the mysterious figure known as C. Hypothetically, if Sidwell is indeed the true mastermind, then Britt is not just a pawn. She is leverage. She is insurance. But we cannot say this with certainty, because the show has not yet confirmed whether Sidwell is C or simply another layer in a much larger operation. That uncertainty is what keeps Britt trapped, always guessing how much Sidwell really knows and how far he is willing to go. What we do know is that as long as Sidwell controls access to Britt's treatment, she cannot openly oppose him. Britt is many things, but reckless is not one of them. She understands the stakes better than anyone. Without the medication, her condition would deteriorate quickly, and survival would become a question rather than a given. This reality forces her into a position where silence becomes a survival tactic. Even after witnessing Sidwell shoot Dalton, an act that would haunt anyone with a conscience, Britt remains quiet. She has no illusions about what would happen if she spoke out too soon. In her mind, staying alive is the first priority. Justice can only matter if she lives long enough to see it. This is why Britt continues to work for Sidwell in secret. Not because she believes in him, and not because she trusts him, but because she has no viable alternative yet. Every task he assigns, every piece of information he demands, tightens the net around her. She is constantly calculating how much she can give without destroying herself. And all the while, she knows that one wrong move could cost her everything. At the same time, another complication enters the picture in the form of Brennan. Brennan is not blind to Britt's situation. He knows more than he lets on, and he understands that Britt's loyalty to Sidwell is not voluntary. Brennan is aware that Britt may be acting as an unwilling asset, passing along information because she has been cornered. This knowledge gives Brennan leverage of his own, and he uses it carefully. When Brennan allows Britt to regain her medical license, it is not an act of kindness. It is a calculated exchange. Britt gets back a piece of her identity, her profession, and her sense of purpose. In return, Brennan expects information about Sidwell. This arrangement places Britt in an almost impossible position. She is now serving two opposing forces, both of whom could destroy her if they decide she is no longer useful. The balance she has to maintain is delicate, and it is likely unsustainable in the long run. Working for both Sidwell and Brennan forces Britt to become someone she never wanted to be. She has to lie convincingly. She has to compartmentalize her fear. She has to remember which version of the truth she is told to whom. The emotional toll of this double life is immense, and we can see it wearing her down. Even the strongest people eventually crack under that kind of pressure. Britt is no exception. As this fragile balance begins to unravel, we start to see how other characters are drawn into the mystery, not by design, but by concern. Carly is one of the first. Carly overhears a conversation between Britt and Brennan, who is also Carly's boyfriend. What she hears unsettles her. She did not expect these two people to be connected, and the realization immediately raises red flags. Carly is perceptive, and she knows when something feels wrong. She may not have all the details, but she understands enough to know that Britt is involved in something dangerous. Carly's instincts push her toward Jason. She has always been protective of him, and she does not want to see him hurt, especially by someone he cares about. It is possible that Carly will warn Jason directly, but it is just as possible that she will begin her own quiet investigation first. Carly is not the type to act without some proof. She listens, she observes, and she connects dots that others miss. In her mind, protecting Jason might mean uncovering the truth about Britt before Jason gets pulled too deep. At the same time, Liz becomes another unexpected ally in Jason's search for answers. With Britt returning to work at the hospital, Liz is in a position to observe her closely. They cross paths frequently, and Liz starts to notice small inconsistencies in Britt's behavior. There are moments when Britt seems distracted, moments when her anxiety slips through the cracks. Liz has known enough people in trouble to recognize the signs, and her concern grows. Liz does not initially set out to spy on Britt. It begins as curiosity, then worry. She notices Britt taking calls in private, leaving suddenly, reacting strongly to certain names. Over time, these observations form a pattern that Liz cannot ignore. And because Liz shares a long-standing friendship with Jason, it feels natural for her to bring her concerns to him. She trusts Jason, and she believes he deserves to know the truth, even if that truth is complicated. What makes this situation especially striking is that Carly and Liz are not acting at Jason's request. They are moved by their own instincts and their own care for him. Jason, who has tried repeatedly to earn Britt's trust and failed, does not expect help to come from these directions. He has always relied on himself. And perhaps that is why the information they uncover surprises him so deeply. The irony is hard to miss. The secrets Britt could not bring herself to share with Jason may reach him through two women who know him well and want to protect him. As Jason starts to piece together what Carly and Liz have discovered, his understanding of Britt begins to shift. He realizes that she is not simply being secretive. She is being hunted, controlled, and manipulated. He learns that both Brennan and Sidwell have their sights set on her, each for different reasons, and that Britt is trapped in the middle. This knowledge changes how Jason views her past behavior. What once looked like betrayal now looks like desperation. Jason's feelings for Britt are genuine, and that sincerity becomes the driving force behind his next potential move. He understands what it means to be cornered by powerful people. He has lived that life himself. So when he sees Britt through this new lens, empathy replaces suspicion. He begins to ask himself whether he can help her escape without making things worse. The question then becomes how far Jason is willing to go. If he confronts Sidwell directly, he risks escalating the situation and putting Britt in even greater danger. If he challenges Brennan, he could expose Britt's role as an informant. Every option carries risk. There is no clean solution. And yet, doing nothing is not an option for Jason. He cannot stand by and watch Britt be destroyed. We have to consider that Jason may try to find a way to secure Britt's medication independently. If he can remove Sidwell's control over her treatment, everything changes. Britt would no longer be bound by fear of losing access to the drugs that keep her alive. This would be a turning point, but it would also paint a target on Jason's back. Sidwell would not let such a move go unanswered. At the same time, Brennan's role becomes increasingly unstable. If Brennan suspects that Britt's cover is at risk, he may push her harder for information. He might demand more than she can safely provide. This could force Britt into a moment of decision, where she has to choose which enemy is the lesser evil. Possibly, that decision could come sooner than anyone expects. As the walls close in, Britt's ability to keep her secrets diminishes. She is human, and humans make mistakes, especially under pressure. A missed call, a careless word, a moment of hesitation could reveal everything. Liz might notice something that confirms her suspicions. Carly might overhear another conversation that fills in the missing pieces. The truth is no longer safely buried. In the end, we are left with questions that have no easy answers. Will Jason act in time to save Britt? Or will his involvement put her in even greater danger? Can Britt truly escape Sidwell's grip while still receiving the treatment she needs to survive? Is Brennan an ally of convenience, or just another predator waiting for the right moment to strike? These questions hang in the air, unanswered and heavy. What we're certain of is that Britt's story is far from over. The choices she makes in the coming days will define not only her future, but Jason's as well. The situation is fluid, volatile, and likely to explode in ways no one can fully predict. For now, all we can do is watch as the pieces move closer together, knowing that when they finally collide, the fallout will be impossible to ignore.